one thing about Texas is we definitely get some pretty sunsets out here, and this is how it was looking about 45 minutes ago out there. A little bit of a cirrus, jet stream energy, and those bands are striated from southwest to northeast, and we can still hear the wind banging around out there at this hour. The charts right now looking like this. Definitely got a lot of weather action there in the eastern U.S. Big Bear Clinic system there over Lake Ontario. And out west, it looks like things have quieted down out in that region. So high pressure, kind of a plateau high settling in over Idaho and Wyoming. The next weather system coming together in British Columbia and out in the Pacific. And just for a quick location where fronts are, Ohio down to Alabama, and then down to South Texas, looking at a cold front. Better fill that in to show that that's surface-based. And then the warm front runs from about Ohio to New York. Okay, so pretty good weather action out there. And then the next system is going to be way out here in British Columbia. So I'm going to place that system kind of like that. And then a warm, cold front kind of like this. So that's still pretty far off the coast, and things looking pretty good in California and Oregon. That front down in South Texas, you can see that that has pushed pretty far south. Almost all the way down to northern Mexico right there. And most likely that's just going to keep moving even further south over the next day or so. Okay, let me take a look at the chat, make sure everything's looking good. Stream numbers coming up. Got David Holcomb here, very windy, stormy day in Indiana. David Moore reporting gusts up to almost 40 knots there in DFW, blustery day. Ron Chalfant in South California joining us, and Fun with Tech. Ryan Toomey's Ron Chalfant liking the intro music. I think I put some Irish music on there. Cool and breezy where Ryan is. South Florida, temperatures in the 70s, and that's ahead of the front. And David Moore sent a picture. I haven't checked my email yet. I'll see if I can get that tomorrow. But got a picture, looks like, of the Pineapple Express. Indiana Chaser Con there where Sue is. 16 degrees in Big Bear last night where Ron Chalfant is. Kevin McKinney reported 15 minutes ago the line passing. Trailing rain there. Stephen Shores in Colorado there, studying meteorology, taking a break. Awesome. Carl Berghoff also joining us. Somebody let the mercury out of the thermometer. And yeah, let's check out that weather. This is going to be the surface plots. The black lines are isobars, and the red lines are upper level 500 millibar heights. So that's not thickness, that's actually heights. But that's still useful. We can see the medium wave pattern here, so there's kind of like a trough right there. Trough axis located from Ontario down the Mississippi River, kind of like that. So this kind of corresponds to the deepest, coldest air. And where we have that 500 millibar height very tight together is where we have strong upper level winds. So this is telling me that the jet stream is located something like that right there. And then it looks like a jet max is located right there over Kentucky. So the divergent left front quadrant is right over here. Corresponds pretty well to that low pressure there over Lake Ontario. So everything kind of matches up here. And yeah, back over Texas, cold air is streaming southward And let's see if we can find the front here. Looks like it's running from about Columbus down to about Knoxville, up to just north of Birmingham, and then coming up on maybe Lafayette. All right, so that's our location there for that cold front. And along that front, we are getting some showers at this hour. And you can see it's got what we call a squeegee squall line. It's definitely got the look of a lot of strong forcing. So this is air that's not, it's pretty well capped. And the only lift we're getting is right there along the boundary itself. So it has the appearance of kind of like a wedge, just kind of forcing the air to rise. And since that wedge is 2,000 miles long with no brakes, there's a lot of cell competition, so it's hard to get an isolated squall line going up because you're generating convection along a continuous line like that. So this is not a very good pattern here for severe weather. And also, we don't have very much backing, especially along the cold front. The winds tend to be kind of like that right there. And what we need is for winds to be backed like this. And we can only have that east or northeast of a low pressure area. But that's not what we have. We've got troughing. The low is up here in Pennsylvania. And these isobars here showing that the trough extends to the southwest of that low like that. And also, maybe to show you the wind field, maybe I can do that real quick. Yeah, let's show you the wind field out in Alabama ahead of the line. And you can see that the isobars right there are oriented west-southwest and north-northeast. So there's kind of a westerly component there. And if we put up the sounding, yeah, you can see the winds there completely out of the west. And as a result, the hodograph has all of the wind plots up in this box right here. So there is a little bit of shear. See that speed shear from 0 to 1 kilometer. So we're not totally devoid of helicity. We could certainly get some severe weather out of that if we had some point convergence going on. But just only a little bit of directional shear there in the lowest 1 or 2 kilometers. And let's see. Yeah, we do have some storm relative helicity up to about 400 there. So yeah, our ingredients are actually not too bad there in Alabama, but things would be very fast moving. You can see the ground relative motion to the storm vector. We would have cells moving at 55 knots, so pretty fast motion there. And we would actually be sweeping out all of this right there. So yeah, we are getting a little bit of a boost there from mostly from this very weak wind at the surface there. Let me try dropping one more plot over the Atlanta area. Yep, a little bit of speed shear there. So showing storm relative helicity there at about 400. So that's a pretty potent front that we have moving through that area right now. Okay, back to our charts. 500. We'll look at the snowfall. Got quite a bit of snowfall on the ground there in Canada. Very strong delineation between the U.S. and Canada. And these are in centimeters. So 1 foot of snow is going to be about 30 centimeters. So what we're seeing here is about 4 inches to maybe 3 inches there over Ontario. So yeah, about 2 to 4 inches on average. However, it's going to increase out here in Western Canada. This is going to, I'll show you what's happening out there. So you see that next system coming together there off the coast of British Columbia. So this is a new system coming together here. And let me show you what's happening here. Okay, so here we're looking at British Columbia. And there's the current picture there. So you can see that there's low pressure off the coast of Prince Rupert here. It looks like we have a bit of a warm front. Looks like another low located right there. So looking kind of like that right there. A little bit of ridging out here in northeast British Columbia. That's significant there because that represents a little bit of cold air. And what we have here is a little bit of a baroclinic system starting across the mountains. This is going to cross over British Columbia tonight. And take a look what happens as that crosses. Okay, you can see a lot of it's blocked by the mountains here. But the main storm system is crossing the mountains, and we're picking up this area of snowfall right there. I guess that's going to be, I don't remember the names of the towns too much. I think Prince George, located right there. Anyway, overnight you can see this area of snow come together. So we're depositing this area of fresh snowfall in northern Alberta. And that's very important because if you think of the snow coming down and settling down on the ground, if you have nice fresh snow, you're going to have these air gaps in between the crystals sitting on the ground. And air is a very effective insulator. So you're going to insulate the air from the warm ground underneath. And that's going to result in very strong cooling. On the other hand, if that snow has been there for like several days, it's going to gradually compact together and you're going to lose that air cushion, that insulation. So your ability to insulate the air above is significantly diminished. So we're going to get a lot of cooling in this area right here, starting tomorrow. And you see what happens here? We start generating a little bit of a cold air mass here. And another way to show that, let me find my sector up there in British Columbia. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we're looking at the 18Z run. This is the frame for earlier today. So here's British Columbia right here. Here's Alberta. And so what you want to watch is up here in British Columbia, up here in the north part. So we're looking at temperature here. And over the next 24 hours, we drop snowfall in this area right here. And gradually, we start forming a cold air outbreak right in this area here. And you can see that take off. Very strong cooling. And that sends a whole air mass coming southward into the U.S. So that's going to be the next cold air outbreak coming south. 1032 millibar high. And that's heading straight into the north central part of the U.S. Okay, the other maps, I guess we can go region by region and just take a quick look what's going on. Here's the northwest U.S. Not very much going on, just kind of a plateau high over this area. The next big change will come from Alberta, of course. So take a look up there. There's the overnight hours, and then we go into tomorrow. And then into tomorrow night. So here comes the cold air. Monday morning and southward into North Dakota there. So this is kind of a shallow air mass, mostly heading this way here. Not much of an effect there on the west coast, but towards the very end we do show a little bit of cyclonic patterns there in the isobars. For the southwestern U.S., same thing, which is kind of a cool pattern, showing northerly flow there over the Las Vegas area. So we do have things dominated by this big Great Basin high. So that'll remain kind of in effect, cool evenings and fairly mild afternoons, temperatures up to about 50 there at Tonopah and Cedar City, and 57 there in Vegas. It's interesting how much cooler Vegas is compared to Phoenix. There's Phoenix there with 75, Vegas only 57, and they're only about 1,000 feet difference there. So that's only about 5 degrees dry adiabatically. So we should see only about 70 or 69, but they're a lot cooler than that. So that's probably due to proximity to that Great Basin high. Other than that, pretty quiet there in California. Looks like kind of a nice weekend. For the northern plains, we've got that fresh system that's moving through. We'll see that start turning into downslope. So a very rapid warm-up tomorrow. And then towards the very end, we'll see the approach of that next system coming in from the northwest. Okay. For Texas, very spectacular cold front coming through during the day today. And then overnight, that'll continue moving out into the Gulf of Mexico. Some freezes there in Oklahoma City down to about 31. Things warm up very quickly, and you can see that anticyclone right there. So you can see the wind spiraling out of that anticyclone. And close to the center of that cyclone, winds will be kind of weak. So it's going to be kind of a nice day tomorrow. This is about 2 p.m. And you can kind of see that cyclone drifting southward. And that's going to settle in overnight over East Texas and South Texas, somewhere around there. So it should be kind of a cool night. Looks like it's settling in right around here. So some areas underneath that high will be locally even cooler, maybe even a little bit of frost in some areas there. Then things warm rapidly on Monday. Strong southerly flow coming up, so gusty winds once again. Temperatures around 62. And let's take a look out in the southeast U.S. That funnel system is moving through Alabama right now. There it is. That's the current chart. So that very strongly delineates the change in air mass. And for the rest of tonight, that cold air is just going to continue moving southeast. By daybreak, it'll be coming up on Tallahassee and up to around Columbia. And then during the day tomorrow, it'll move through the remainder of Florida. By evening, it'll be coming into the Vero Beach area, south of Tampa, around Fort Myers. And it looks like this one does make it all the way to Miami tomorrow night. And we can see temperatures, that's off to the bottom of the map, but just reading this, looks like about 78 for Monday, after starting the morning at about 66 there, Monday morning. And then finally for the northeast U.S., current map looking like that right there. There's the low over Lake Erie. And there it goes right there. And you can see that the low pressure area is up there over Ontario, Lake Ontario later tonight. But it's being cut off from the main body of warm air all the way to the south. So this is a occluded low. So the main area of baroclinicity is down over Pennsylvania. And so for the remainder of tonight into tomorrow morning, looks like the front is moving through New York City. Warm front up in New England. And then it'll move quickly out of the area. And then by sunset, temperatures coming down into the 20s and 30s. And then looks like kind of a cold day for Monday. Yeah, highs only around the 20s and 30s. Okay, let's see. Let me move forward to, I guess we'll take a look at maybe a couple of soundings. There's the Birmingham sounding showing a cap, kind of an elevated cap there based at about 9,000 feet. But this is what's capping the air mass and giving us that squeegee squall line. If we try to lift a parcel, yeah, I think it's tough to get any convection going. Looks like no matter which way I try to construct the parcel, I'm to the left of the environment. However, with that westerly wind coming in, this whole area is cooling, especially with the height falls coming in, so that's going to gradually cool the top part of the column. So yeah, we will get a little bit of positive area tonight there in Birmingham. And let's try maybe Detroit. It's a much different appearance there. You can see the top of the cold layer up to about 10,000 feet. Above that, we've got some saturated air up there, and it's sub-freezing, so it looks like icing problems over Michigan. And below that, some air that's below freezing and probably a bit of a maybe mixed precipitation regime there. Okay, I guess we'll head into the forecast, which, you know, we've already done a little bit of that, but I need to get started on the book. Hoping to finish that this weekend. Okay, so there's our outgoing system there in the eastern U.S., bringing the area of cold air advection in. Looks like the main impact of that cold air advection is going to be in the Great Lakes area in the Midwest, and a little bit of cold air advection in Texas and the South, and that cold front all the way down into Mexico. And there's that high right there over Texas. And you can see the high right there. This is tomorrow afternoon. And then the high kind of shifts out into Tennessee and Alabama there. And behind it, the westerly flow coming in, the downslope flow. But up to the north, there's that new system coming in from Canada that we talked about. So that's coming southward as an Alberta Clipper. Plenty of cold air behind that. And that'll move into the Great Lakes area on Monday into Tuesday. And down into the plains also on Tuesday. And let's see, that'll reach Texas. I'm getting a little bit of glitching here. Let's see here. All right, so for Tuesday, there comes that front driven by this high-pressure area. Looks like the main area of cold air advection is going to be in the Great Lakes area. And then by Wednesday morning, looks like that high has cleared. Much of the Dakotas, and it's moving into the Iowa area. So by Wednesday, we'll start cooling down once again in Texas. And out in the East Coast, looks like we do develop a little bit of a system there in Florida. There it comes. We talked about that last night. And then it'll work its way up the coast. And then the next system is going to move up through Canada. Not much of an impact on the lower 48. Actually, yeah, we do get the high moving southward. And that moves down into the Texas area around Saturday and Sunday. Having some problems here with the frames, but anyway, going into next week, 26th, 27th, a pretty good chunk of cold air out over the Great Lakes once again. So it will be cold next week. The main impact will be on the eastern U.S., but the central and southern plains will get a little bit of the edge of those systems as they move through the area. A little bit of baroclinic redevelopment out to the west. Things shaping up for the 28th, 29th there in the western states. And looks like that comes together. Yeah, there it is right there. There's that area of baroclinicity on the 1st and 2nd that crosses the southern Rockies and ends up in Texas around the 1st. So that'll be our next big weather system. And since this has a southerly track, this one will have some weather potential. And this could definitely change over the next couple of days. This is 312 hours out. So we will have a little bit of potential here for severe weather. And, of course, winter weather. And then, yeah, look at that, another more weather out west. This next system is up in the northwestern U.S., developing more cold air up there in British Columbia. And this looks like it's poised to move southward as a very potent Alberta clipper, maybe the first week of December there. Okay, well, anyway, I've got to get back to the work on the book here. Let me just take a quick look at chat. So I'm reporting a little bit of buffering there. Very windy where Mr. Manlet is in northern Illinois, gust to 30. A raw day in Illinois from Electric Dog. Severe thunderstorm warning in Lafayette, Georgia from Kevin McKinney. Cthulhu reporting buffering during the synoptic weather maps, maybe. I don't know, I missed that buffering there. Megan John reporting 19 degrees and biting wind in Minnesota. Carl Berghoff liking the webcast. I appreciate it. And yeah, definitely hit the like button. And Ron Chalfant says, always more to learn. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the weathercast and maybe some of the cold air, at least for those of us who like the cold air. And hope you all have a good evening and take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.